There's a ton of new avatar cards, and obviously the first card I had to talk about is the Cabbage Merchant, because this card is actually pretty strong. So, he is 2 of any color and 1 green for a 2/2 legendary creature, Human Citizen. With whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, create a food token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, sacrifice a food token, and you can tap to untap foods you control to add 1 mana of any color. So first of all, in a 4-player game, players cast a ton of non-creature spells. So if they don't immediately kill this, it will get you a lot of value. And then you can use those food tokens to generate mana, which you can either use to protect him if they ever want to try to kill him, or you can use them as fogs so they don't deal combat damage to your face, so you have to sacrifice a food token. But once you start comboing it with other food payoffs like Academy Manufacturer, who says if you would create a clue, food, or treasure, instead create 1 of each. So now every time you get card draw and mana as well, he basically becomes an auto-include in any food strategy, and would make a really interesting commander that I think would be quite powerful. Redirect Lightning is a very versatile redirect spell. It is 1 of any color for an instant lesson that has, as an additional cost to cast a spell, you can pay 5 life or pay 2 mana, and then you change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. So I think this card is a Commander All-Star. Losing 5 life isn't that bad in a 40 life format. You really don't mind, and it becomes a really efficient way to redirect a spell, and redirect spells can be absolutely devastating in Commander, because you're not only potentially saving your own creature, but you're using it to remove something important from your opponent's too. And if you don't want to pay the life, paying 3 is a totally reasonable amount of mana to pay for a redirect spell. So I think this card is really strong either casting cost, and I think it'll see a lot of play. They also have some really sweet reprints. These will not be standard legal, but will be beautiful and will be very powerful cards like Force of Negation, which is an incredibly strong counterspell because it can be played for free. It goes about $60. And they revealed a new Great Henge, which is a card that is $180 right now, which is so insane. Faded Firepower is X and 3 red mana for an enchantment with flash. This enchantment enters with X fire counters on it. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, it deals that plus an amount of damage equal to the number of fire counters on this enchantment instead. So if you're in a deck that can make a lot of mana, you can turn X into an absurd amount of damage. And the coolest part is this has flash. So you can attack, declares their blockers, and then you flash this in, killing all the creatures they blocked with, or dealing enough damage to just win the game. You can also hold your mana and wait until your turn is about to start. You play it, then you untap, and then spend that turn using cards that deal damage. And out of nowhere, you can just come in with a huge amount of damage. So I think this card will go into a ton of different strategies, and will get you wins out of nowhere. What an awesome card. Aang's Icebird is 2 of any color and 1 white for an enchantment with flash. When this enchantment enters, exiles up to 1 other target non-land permanent until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. It has Waterbend 3. Sacrifice this enchantment. If you do, scry 2. While paying a Waterbend cost, you can tap your artifact and creatures to help each pay for 1. So there's been a lot of Strictly Better Oblivion Rings, which is a 3-mana enchantment that does this without flash or the Waterbend ability, and they've always been decent, but I think this one is really pushed. Being able to cast this at instant speed is super important for a control deck. They love to either hold up counterspell, or card advantage, or removal, and then just use which one is best for the situation. So it fits really well in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if in Standard, some decks started to play with this. Its Waterbend ability isn't that important. It could come in handy if, let's say, you exiled an opponent's token, and there's nothing under it. Or your opponent's about to remove it, and in response, you sacrifice it instead, and get the Scry 2. But I think this coolest application is if you play Aang's Iceberg, targeting one of your own permanents, to save it from a board wipe or a removal, and then sacrificing and bringing that permanent back into play at instant speed. So I think this card is great. It's really pushed for its cost. and I think it will see play in Standard or in Commander. Toph, the first metalbender, is one of any color, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 white, or a 3/3 legendary creature human warrior ally with non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to their other types. They don't gain the ability to tap for mana. At the beginning of your end step, Earthbend 2. Target land you control becomes a 0/0 creature with haste. That's still a land. Put 2 counters on it. When it dies or is exiled, return it to the battlefield tapped. This is a really unique card that works in many ways. You will get landfall triggers whenever you play artifacts, but I think her most busted thing is giving artifacts and lands the ability to come back after they die or is exiled. Especially the exile part, because you don't have many cards that save you from exiling yourself. So it could work really well with Gonti's Ether Heart, or Infinite Turns. So this card gives you, whenever Gonti Ether Hearts or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you get 2 energy, and then you can pay 8 energy to exile Gonti Ether Heart and take an extra turn after this one. So if you're getting enough energy each turn, you can turn this into a creature, sacrifice it, get an extra turn, and then it comes right back. And I think an even more busted combo, Mindslaver is 6 of any color, you can pay 4, tap it, sacrifice Mindslaver, you control target player during that player's next turn. So if you target Toph on this, you turn it into a creature, you sacrifice it, choose an opponent, it comes back, and it's in a combo you can just repeat over and over and over again. If you're in a 1v1 game, that's straight up just a win. If you're playing multiple players, you get to just shut down one person every turn. That's pretty powerful. And not only shut them down, but you get to use their whole deck to your advantage. And that's pretty crazy. So she makes a really, really unique commander that has a lot of really powerful implications. I'm really excited to see her. So those were my top picks from this first wave of spoilers. And I think they're not only powerful, but incredibly flavorful. Comment down below some cards I might have missed, and please support the channel by giving a like. Thank you so much, and have a good one.